And so today I'll be taking you through basically what happens online. Now the actual selling. Most businesses are preferring you pay a product before they ship because some clients will actually order a product and say they will pay on delivery, and then when the time comes for delivery, you have already delivered your product. They are not able to pay. Safeguard your money in terms of if there is any fraud or anything. Because today fraudsters are even now coming into business, like they are getting any slightest chance to make sure they fraud people. I once used a certain shipping company. I was shipping goods from Dubai to Kenya, and I was shipping via sea, and my products took 2 months to get here. A shipping company will not handle your products for you unless they have provided that, call it after sale services, like the extra customer services, unless it is provided for, but most of them will not. Hey guys, welcome back. So we are coming on the third topic of this series. We had our first one. The series was digital skills for business. We had our introduction. On the last episode, we did the second one, which was the third one, which was selling online, and we talked about e-commerce and all e-commerce models and what happens in each model. And so today I'll be taking you through basically what happens online. Now the actual selling that happens online and all the processes that goes about with selling online in business or in digital business. So once you have created your profile, you have decided which e-commerce model you're going to use. Now what happens next? So the processes include buying, shipping, and paying and delivering. So the customer identifies the product, they buys it, and then they buy it, and then after the customer buys the product, you confirm if the product is available. Of course, it has to be available because it is not marked sold, and then you prepare an invoice for them, and then you have the arrangement with them. Either they are paying before you deliver or they are paying on delivery. Depends on how you prefer. So after they pay, if you are going with paying fast, today most businesses are preferring you pay a product before they ship, because some clients will actually order a product and say they will pay on delivery, and then when the time comes for delivery, you have already delivered your product. They're not able to pay for the product. Now you will have wasted your transport fees and your time and everything preparing for the order, and then they end up not paying, so you don't have to deliver to them. So today, many businesses are preferring you pay before they deliver a product. But you can decide according to your customer base. You can decide which one to prefer. So after they have paid, you prepare your product, and then you take them to the shipping company. You handle it first, and then you take it to the shipping company, and then you indicate the delivery details, and then when it is delivered, you come and take you come and indicate paid on the product sold on your catalog or on your website or wherever you have recorded your stock. You record sold, and that is it. And the customer is happy they found your product, and you're happy you made a sale. The goal is for the product to reach the customer and for the customer to give the money. Now, here is where payments payment service providers are coming. Payment service providers are like PayPal and others. So mostly I have seen payment service providers work with e-commerce models that involve influencer to business services. The one we talked in our last episode, where it is an influencer providing service to a business or to an individual. So these are websites like Upwork, Fiverr, and others. So this is where there is a payment service provider. So you get the order from the client, and then you work on it, and then you deliver. So they pay this payment service provider. And then after you have delivered it has been confirmed. Now the payment service provider pays you. Now this takes time because it has to go through the verifying process and everything. But like, for example, here in, even not just here in Kenya, but even for example, shipping products from China to Kenya, for example, or China to parts of Africa, you really have not had to include a payment service provider unless it is the website itself, the e-commerce that is providing the link between you and the client. I guess that's what now they use as the payment service provider. But if it is just yourself, the website, and the client, it will depend. It will depend with your type of business and the complexity of your business. Maybe if you are a trust, you might need to include a payment service provider, because also that comes with some form of safety measures, because they will handle for you, they will check for you the client, they will check for you the nature of the order, if it sounds suspicious or anything. And yeah, so that's why some people will prefer to use a payment service provider. But here in Kenya, we've seen you just pay direct to the, unless the e-commerce platforms like Jumia and Amazon and Kilimall. But those ones, I think now the platform, the owners of the platform now are handling the payments, and they know how they have prepared to check the safety of the money, basically. So before choosing a payment service provider, in case you will need to go with it, you have to consider the following factors. So number one, does the payment service provider work in your country? So you must be sure the payment service provider works in your country. For example, if you're going to use, like, you are an influencer and you're providing services globally, and you will need a payment service provider, you need to check if the payment service provider is recognized locally, because there are other there are like taxation issues that come along. So it has to be recognized locally for such issues to be considered. And then number two, how can a business withdraw money from its account? How can you withdraw money from your account in that payment service providers? And also the interest they charge, and transactions and everything, because sometimes you might find you're actually running at a loss. And then another thing is, does the payment service provider help the business in case fraud or changebacks? Yeah, like I said, most payment service providers should do a research for you and help you safeguard your money in terms of if there is any fraud or anything. Because today fraudsters are even now coming into business. Like they are getting any slightest chance to make sure they fraud people. So you have to be extremely cautious. And then another thing is, what are the payout frequencies and delays, if any? So I have seen many people using the payment service providers asking in these social platforms, and they're like, I have not been able to withdraw my money from this platform, from this payment service provider. If you're using, have you been encountering any problem like that? And sometimes people lose money in those payment service providers. So you must be really careful to do a research on how the payment service provider works. To make sure how your money is handled, if you will receive the money on time, and if there is like a laid out process whereby they say that we will be providing money on this and this dates. So you have to be sure with those ones. Then another thing is the payment gateway integrated on the website platforms I will use to sell online. If you're gonna sell online in the e-commerce platforms, you have to also to be sure if the payment service provider is recognized by those platforms. And then the last one is, of course, the tax requirements. Other than the governments, do they have any tax requirements from their company? Maybe they don't originate from your company, so they're from your country. So do they have those obligations on their country, or themselves? Do they have such tax requirements? So you have to be sure and then calculate to make sure you'll not go into losses because you're having to pay so much in those payment service providers. I think it just works like the app loans providers, whereby you find that if you are taking loans frequency from those apps, maybe you are getting them in a business, you'll realize it's kind of like you're just working for that app, because the interest rates plus all the charges they have are extremely high. So even in these payment service providers, you have to be cautious and do a research on how they operate and when you will be able to access your money, and in case there will be a problem, if they will be able to help you out. And in case there will be a fraudster that wants to fraud you, if they will be able to detect and help you out. So that is basically it for you to make sure you identify a favorable payment service provider. When doing this, when handling payments online and when just generally doing business online, be very cautious. Sometimes you will receive a too good order, and you'll be like you normally you sell like 2 products to a client or 4 products to a client. This time the client wants 100 products, and their offer is too good. So you have to be cautious. Why? So you have to do a bit of more research about the client and why they need such a big order and everything. So so that is about payment, the first thing. The next thing is shipping in that ecosystem. The next thing is shipping. For shipping, you have to identify a shipping company. So, for example, globally we have Britain. Here in Africa we have Mombasa Cargo, we have Lakeland, and other many that I cannot mention. So you have to check a payment service provider, a shipping company. Also do a research about the shipping company, how they handle your products, how long will they take for your product to reach your clients, because that is very, very important. I once used a certain shipping company. I was shipping goods from Dubai to Kenya, and I was shipping via sea, and my products took 2 months to get here. And I was wondering what's going on. So after doing some research, I realized these guys. So my product was just small. It was not a huge package that will take a lot of space in the container. So I realized these guys, they give priority to those people with bigger parcels that will take a lot of space in the container. So you guys with the smaller packages, you are put on the waiting line. So you wait until the people with the bigger packages go, and then now you may be considered afterwards. And that means your product might stay and stay and stay at the shipping uh, at the station before it is finally loaded for shipping to your country. So you have also to do a research on how they operate for you to avoid delays with your clients, because also time is money. Um, and then another thing, of course, how they handle fragile products, or how they handle products that are what do you call it? Um, Products that will expire quickly or something like that. So you have to to do a research to know how the shipping providers handle this. Also, there are shipping providers that are you need to know whether you are shipping via air or via sea or via sometimes even pipeline if you're dealing with liquid products, or sometimes via railway or via road. Okay. Because all those shipping services, shipping companies or shipping models, they have different rules and regulations. So you have to be sure which one you're gonna use. So for example, in the unit that I am, in the field that I am, you can either use either use air or shipping, or if it is between country to country, like here in Kenya, you use road, for example, sometimes if the countries are almost near together, whereby your product will take like 2 days to get to the client. So, and all those, they have different uh, regulations. So do a research on your type of products, and in case your product will need to change the model of transport or the model of shipping, if it will be easier with the shipping company, if they will be able to accommodate you. So the first thing when a client orders your product, of course you mark it here as purchased or sold, and then you create an invoice for them. Either they pay or they don't pay, like I said earlier. Then you handle your order. Now, a shipping company will not handle your products for you unless they have provided that, call it after sale services, like the extra customer services, unless it is provided for, but most of them will not. So handle your product. If in case it is fragile, in case whatever it might be, handle it, take care of it. Write stickers of your company if you want, or maybe you might package in a packaging box or bag that has your name branded on it, or anything. Package it, make it look good, and then you will transfer it to the shipping company. Now, the work of the shipping company is only, you will just give them instructions. This is fragile, this is like this is like this. And then their work is just to transfer now or to ship to your client. Yeah. So you ship your order, and then when they receive, it is delivered to them, and then you mark as that order is fulfilled. Okay. So that is basically it in terms of shipping. Like I said, handle your products carefully. because sometimes you will take your products to the shipping company, and then they will just be randomly put in or stored in their packaging. For example, there is a product that we shipped from Dubai and it got here cracked, and it was no fault of the shipping provider. It was the fault of the guy or the business that was we had bought the product from in Dubai. They had not covered the product fully, and it had some places which were fragile. So it got here when those parts were broken, and it could not help us. So make sure you cover your product completely and take care of any fragile parts or any, it will solely rely on you. The shipping provider will not take the risk unless it is something to do with them. Maybe they handled it carelessly, so you have to tell them what it is and something like that. So, you must know that the shipping company has very little of risk in the process of shipping. So be very, very cautious in that process, especially if your products have fragile parts. So I think that's it with the shipping. So now the last part. The last part is before I go to the last part, after you have done your shipping, there is the part where either the client, the product will get to the client broken, or the product will get to the client and they realize it is different, or it has different specs from what they wanted. Now you have to indicate. Now here you indicate on your website. You have to indicate the process of either returning or refunding or replacement or anything. I think we will handle that by the end of this lesson. But make sure you have indicated that on your website, or you have communicated with your client before shipping your product, because sometimes you will ship the product and according to your terms, you are not liable to the risk. The client takes the risk, and you might risk putting your company on spot, because now people will be like, your company is unreliable. So make sure you indicate, you are very clear about what happens in case the product doesn't get the client as expected. So what next? Either are you refunding, or are you, and the cost of transport, the cost of shipping, who will take care of it now that the client have realized the product did not match their needs? So who will take care of the shipping costs and all that? So you must be able to indicate that either on your website or before shipping to your client. Should inspire trust in both your company and your products. So they should be able to trust you as a company that you will deliver, but they should also be able to trust your products, that they will match their needs and they will be exactly as they ordered. So that someone doesn't order a size 10 dress and you deliver a size 8 or a size 12 or a size 14, and you should be able to offer services like explanations, explaining to them in case you are this size, it might not fit you. It is either a fitting, what do you call it? It's either slightly bigger or slightly smaller. I've forgotten the term used. But yeah, at least be able to explain to your client so that they know what to expect, so that you make sure they don't get disappointed after shipping with you. I think that is it. I'm trying to remember a scenario where an influencer has to explain their service to the. I think that one is just that you have to be very you have to like maintain a very clear communication between yourself and your clients, so that to make sure exactly what they need, and to discuss with them how you can make that work in your own ways. So for your content to inspire trust to your clients, number one, it should be accurate. Make sure your content, when you're marketing online, make sure it is accurate. Make sure the information discloses valid and verifiable details about both your company and your product. It cannot be designed to deliberately confuse clients or contain false information. Be very accurate and clear. And then number two, it has to be relevant. Just post whatever is relevant according to the product and according to the company. And then another thing, it should be informative. Yeah, like providing the client with, like for example, I'm marketing my company, so telling your client in the when designing your content, where you are, how you operate, even the operation hours, and everything. Like, it has to be very informative and inform the client everything they need to know, so that they don't get confused. And then it has to contain mandatory disclosure, such as health hazards, child warnings, or other information prescribed by law in your specific jurisdiction. So there are certain products that have hazards. Like for example, you don't expose to too much light, you don't put it in your feet, or you don't expose it too much cold, like you don't put it in a freezer or in a fridge or something like that. You have to be very, very, very intentional in providing that mandatory information to your clients, because sometimes it is actually required by law. If you provide your products and you realize, and the client realizes you did not indicate such mandatory information, and it gets to the client, and the client maybe misuses the product or does not consider health hazards, and it explodes on them, or it causes issues, they might sue you and you will be in great danger. So make sure you include every important information, including possible hazards. Even if you're dealing with, for example, food, make sure to include information like in case you have an allergy in dairy products, or in case you have an allergy in this and the other, this product will not be good for you. That will be very, very helpful, and it will actually create trust between you and your clients. So the next thing you have to be careful with is the payment providers. The seller is required to assure buyers that they are dealing with a reputable business, a business that will not disappear with their money. Okay, you have to be sure that your clients trust you, that you will not disappear with their money. And even in case the product doesn't match their needs, you are clear if they will get their money back, or in case you will replace, or whatever it is that you will do, so that before they buy, they know what to expect. So in case you are gonna use a payment service provider, look for a trusted one that your clients will find favorable. Payment providers will require valid information like legal address, several legal documents like user agreement, privacy policy, terms and conditions, and other mandatory disclosure information. And then the institution verifies the data provided against the Interpol list and other database. to ensure business owners are not known for money laundering, okay? Financing terrorism, etc. So you see, when we're dealing with money, you know, it sometimes it becomes a bit tricky because the fraudsters are there, like what do we call it? They're there to scam you and to cause trouble in your business. So you have to be extremely cautious. So what should you do when designing a website? In case you're designing a website, or when you're getting yourself online, make sure you have terms and conditions and other policies written on, printed or published, okay? So that whenever a client wants to buy from you, they can access the terms, conditions, policies, and everything that they need so that they can be sure what they are gonna get from you. So these are policies on return, shipping, and handling, and also and any other legal information that might be required. So this is where I said we talk about the shipping. So for the shipping, for example, you might, like I have had issues buying online because sometimes I will buy a product, it will come, it will not fit me, and I cannot, like, they cannot refund me, or they cannot replace. Like, it becomes difficult for me to find value for my money. So over time, I have had it difficult to buy, especially personal products like clothes, shoes, and everything. I have found it difficult to buy online. So if you are someone who is who is planning to start selling online, can you give us these services whereby we will not fear for the value for our money, okay? So in case I am buying a dress from you and it gets to my place and it becomes either baggy or too much fitting, can you replace it for me, or can you simply refund the money in case the product is not damaged? Okay, so sometimes you have supplied a product, let's say a kitchen product or a household product, and it gets to my place and it is broken. What are we doing with that? Are you giving me a discount, or are you replacing the product, or what are you doing to ensure that I get value for my money? Because I do not carry the risk. Okay. So make sure you indicate such policies in your website or wherever you are selling before selling. If sellers don't check carefully, they might check consumer rights and laws and regulations and result in legal action. In case you don't, you're not very careful in checking this, like I said earlier, someone might actually sue you, and that will result to bringing a lot of trouble to your business, and you might actually risk losing your business. So be very carefully. You might include a legal practitioner like a lawyer to help you take care of these terms and conditions and policies in a legal direction, so that you are very sure of what you are providing to the public. You can also search pre-made templates on business law websites like Tamlin, privacy policies, terms feed, free privacy policy, and customize them to the specifics of your business. So in case you are not able to reach the legal officers, you can get these ones online and go through them and rewrite them according to the needs of your business. So make sure you get templates that are used in your countries, that are accepted in your country's law, to make sure you comply with your country's specific rules. Involve a legal officer to cross-check after you have customized the templates. Involve now a legal practitioner to go through it and just to verify and make sure it is actually the right thing. So that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. Tell me in the comment section which one you've been doing, which one you've planned, what are you going to do. So our next episode was going to be what next after we have learned all these things. Where are we starting? But that I will leave it for you today. Go and have like a somewhere you are writing and identify where you are in your business. Have you created a Google account? Do you have social media profiles? Have you started selling online? Do you have terms and conditions for your business? Have you gotten a payment service provider? Do you have a shipping company that you can rely on? What are the after service services that you have for your clients? Are you providing like thank you notes, or are you customizing your shipping bags or boxes and branding your name on them? Or what are you doing to make sure your business is attractive to your customers and to your clients? So that is it for today. We will meet in the next one. Bye.